Hi. So last time we talked generally about customer research, but you need to know more specifically the types of surveys that you can use. So in this video I'm going to be talking about absorbed knowledge, impersonal, semi-personal, and personal surveys. And again, please make sure you do your own research and talk to experts. So absorbed knowledge is what you already know, or what you can research without doing any survey. So this is, for example, your life experience, or Google researching, or reading academic journals, or government papers. And this gives you a starting point. This starting point is a hypothesis. I think that this is true, but until you prove that through survey, you don't know if it's true. So you have to validate your hypothesis, and that's why we use other survey techniques. One trap that people fall into when they start out as product managers is they assume what they already think is actually true, and then they don't go and do that later surveying. So don't do that. Go and do a survey. Talk to customers. So if we talk about impersonal surveys, an impersonal survey, for example, could be a syndicated survey, so a big, huge international or national data survey. It could be online surveys. So back when I started, that was just Excel or an email. But now you have great tools like SurveyMonkey. And in the software world, that can be something like A/B testing. So A/B testing, in the software world, you can actually change your product over the air, dynamically, on the fly, and see how your customer responds to that. In the physical world, that's quite difficult to do because you have tooling and production and lead times. But you can also have a small group of customers and show them 2 examples of potential products and get feedback. So in that way, I could show you these 2 logos for my YouTube channel, and I could ask you, which do you like better? Which one represents me and my personal brand and what I'm trying to do here, A or B? And then based on that feedback, I could then make a change or not make a change. I could say, do you like the PowerPoint slide format where I'm a little talking head in a box and there's lots of data? Or do you like the video format where I'm basically talking to you and adding in some extra points? The good thing about impersonal surveys is you can very quickly and easily and cheaply get a big sample size. And a big sample size means you have more confidence that you're actually getting a snapshot of the whole market. So that's good for reassuring you. And additionally, with a lot of this data, it's numerical usually, and that numerical data, you can make complex statistical analysis. So one of those is a conjoint analysis where you take several different variables which are all changing. You wouldn't necessarily be able to easily draw conclusions of this, but with the conjoint analysis, you can draw meaningful conclusions, and it's very powerful. The weaknesses are that, especially if you're looking at large data sets, a lot of the detail can be lost in the large data set. So for example, if I ask all the customers who ever bought a car, do you like your car? If some of them answer yes and some of them answer no, it doesn't really tell me anything, because some of those customers are coming from never having had a car before, or maybe having had a used car. Some of them are coming from Ferraris and Rolls Royces and Lamborghinis and things, so you have no idea what that means. And that deeper understanding is what you gain from other survey types. So realistically, yes, you should use these, but you should use these in conjunction with learning you find from the other survey types. So for example, semi-personal. Semi-personal is something like a focus group. That's where you've got a group of people who are being managed by a moderator, and you're getting the group consensus view. So this is a little bit of the impersonal type, because you're getting more than one person's view, but you also can get some personality, some background, you can get some depth behind it. So with the moderator can read the audience and understand what you're trying to achieve and ask different questions and maybe dig down into some interesting area dynamically. It's very good for giving you some sample size. So if you have a 5 or 10 person focus group and you run it 10 times, that's 50 or 100 people. That's a useful sample size. That gives you some confidence that probably you're representing a decent portion of a market. But with a focus group, one of the weaknesses is that it can be dominated by a strong personality. So if you've got someone very outspoken and a lot of quiet people, basically you're just getting that one person's view. If you've got people who all think kind of similarly, maybe you don't get differences between those people, and they all just are agreeing with each other and getting what you call groupthink. So it really requires an experienced survey moderator to run these. That's very useful when you go to an agency. Agencies have very experienced survey moderators. But personal surveys are one that we can all do relatively easily. And an example of that is a one-to-one interview. So I interview you, I ask you what you think. Again, using the Socratic method, starting big, going down to the detail. It's great for giving you all that detail. You really get a snapshot of a person, you really get a sense of who they are and why they're making the decisions they're making. And if you're doing it, you can follow those discussions into really interesting places. Maybe you end up somewhere you'd never expected. The downside is that if you've never done this before, it can be quite challenging to lead that discussion in a way that makes sense, in a way that doesn't give away what you're trying to do too early. So again, sometimes you need to use survey agencies to run these one-to-one interviews. Also, they have access to customers, so that's useful. And it's really not practical for large sample sizes. So you can never hope to get a real snapshot of the entire market doing it this way. You'd spend your entire life doing one-to-one surveys. That's just not practical. So I hope that was useful. In the next video, we're going to be talking about turning that information, that feedback, into direction for your product. Thanks.